Sylvie, back to what that premise that you brought up at the outset about them constantly needing outside help and really openly admitting every time that they reach out for outside help in these searches that, hey, we don't know enough about football to make these decisions on our own, yet having this stubborn resistance to not bringing in someone that could be in that position full time, a younger, non-retired Bill Polian, Ernie Accorsi type that could even have a cubicle inside Halas Hall and sit there, 12 months out of the year and give you a better direction and evaluation of your organization. Still have zero clue why they are so wedded to their structure and resistant to the idea of adding that position at some point in their existence.
We actually have people that come at us and say, I don't know what you guys are making a big deal about. They don't need anyone other than a general manager. Or they're moving Ted out. Ted doesn't. This thing has been completely dysfunctional now for several decades. And people wonder why. We don't want them to hire. We want them to hire somebody that can fill Ted's role who does have football experience. It seems to be a simple effing ask.
Someone who can be a resource, right? Someone who can be a helpful resource in some of the biggest moments in setting the table for your football team to be successful. It's not a big freaking ask. It's just not. And listen, I went back through some quotes for some other things that I'm working on some of these past hirings. And even as far as 2015, George was adamant that it's not the structure, it's the people within the structure. And you say, okay, well, when the people within the structure aren't working and the structure isn't working, how do you identify the chicken and the egg here? And why not just try a new structure and see if it gets you different results? Because the results you've been getting for 30 plus years haven't been working. And obviously Ted's reign in his current role is 23 years, and he'll step aside in 3 weeks and focus on other things. And then it'll be up to George, the fan/non-football evaluator, to figure out which direction he wants to take this football team.
It's really funny because then when you dive deeper, and I've been saying it starts at the top for years, Dan, and then
I've heard.
Yeah, but then when you really analyze it in a simple way, and I brought this up at the beginning of the show, most of these owners, the people will counter with me, guys, most of these owners don't know much about football. But much of these 32 owners have been successful in some line of big business. Not small business, big business. It's how they got the money to buy a modern-day NFL team. The Bears situation is unique because the original creator of the league is the owner, George Halas. He's been gone for 40 years, and the only qualification that George has is that he's his grandkid. He has not studied the business from anyone qualified inside that business. Ted Phillips is not someone to teach him the family business because he doesn't know anything about the family business. It's not like George passed away 5 years ago and he's been grooming his grandkid to run the team. George McCaskey went to school at Arizona State to be what you are, Dan, a journalist. And then he ran a damn ticket office for many years. Well, I mean, you're great. If I had my choice on who to be president of the Bears, it wouldn't be you. You know what I mean?
Why? God, just rain on my parade. I thought I was going to have an opportunity to get my foot in the door here.
But this is my problem. But they're not they have never been successful in any walk of life. Why would I think that they're going to be successful running this team?
No, and I think I texted you guys, earlier today saying that if you were betting, if this was on the board for betting, right, and you were betting on whether the Bears could screw these hiring processes up, it would probably be minus 290 right now, right? And that's just the odds that they've earned for themselves through all their past failures. And so, listen, I will tell you one thing, that this job for whoever they hire as the general manager is going to come with wide latitude. And that's appealing for some people in this league because it allows you to really run unchecked. And Ryan kind of had this freedom and this liberty himself. Ryan was just very green and inexperienced and probably needed some additional help to kind of take advantage and get better with the free reign and the latitude that was given to him from above. I wrote in my column today, Sully, that this is about more than just hiring the general manager and hiring the head coach. Both of those men need to hire people below them that are supremely talented, that fit in all the different rungs of the ladder below them in the front office and in the coaching staff in a way that makes this organization functional and successful again. And so those hires are going to be under the radar in terms of headlines and sports talk radio and all the other things that come with it. But those are going to be very significant moves made in the coming weeks where the Bears have an opportunity to bring more talent and more acumen and more sophisticated football knowledge to the building. Listen, maybe the new general manager wants an assistant general manager. Novel concept, right?
Yeah.
I don't have a president of football operations. Maybe I can have a right-hand man, an assistant GM. Can we create that position so that I can have some help with all of the different tasks that come with overseeing a football operation?
It's not a one-man job anymore. It's just not. It's not like the whole process of running an NFL franchise has grown and blossomed like you would expect any multi-billion-dollar industry.
And that's a loophole. That's pennies on the dollar, and it's a loophole because it doesn't hurt your salary cap. You know what I mean? Right. You could build that thing out, Dan, and it's not a thing against you strategy-wise. It's only going to help you.
There's 100 things they can do in the coming months to make this stronger. And now they just have to have people with the right vision and the right fit to be able to have, again, the freedom to be able to go to every single corner of every single department in that building and say, this is flawed. We need to get this fixed, and we need to get this fixed urgently, and have the freedom to make those moves and those changes. And you can make significant strides quickly, but it starts with getting the right two people at the top and then making sure that with every move that they make below them, that there is really, really some calculated hires and some strong unity and teamwork with experience and talent below those guys.
Dan, we've already heard news leak about certain guys that did or didn't interview well. What I'm interested to hear is from some of the interviewees and what their experience was like, what the process was like, and some of the questions they were being asked. Has there been any of that that's been leaked out? Because to me, that could be some of the more entertaining conversation.
Without question, Tommy, and we haven't gotten any of that yet, but we're in such a preliminary phase of this that I'm expecting when these hires are made, right, and you take a list of that currently is at least 25 that we know of, 15 on the GM side, 10 on the coaching side, and you narrow it down to 2 and you make the hires, right? You've got 23 other people now that have sat in Zoom rooms and potentially the building with George and Ted and Soup and Tanisha and Bill Polian, who have an ability to tell you a little bit about what the process was like without fear of being easily identified, right? Because there's 23 other guys that will have been interviewed and not gotten the job. And so, listen, February, I imagine the hallways at the Combine are going to be a nice place to pick up some chatter and some gossip. There's going to be a lot that comes out in the months to follow these searches that will tell us a lot about how functional this process was. I can't tell you right now that it's dysfunctional because we don't know a lot about it. We haven't heard from Bill Polian, right? It'll be interesting to see if the Bears make him available after at least the GM hire is made, as they did with Ernie Accorsi, to give you a little bit of an explanation on what he was looking for to help marry a general manager with an organization that's been kind of lost in the woods for a while.
Well, yeah, Dan, do you have a favorite on each side? Is there chatter about, hey, this guy could be the favorite at general manager and this guy could be the favorite at head coach?
No, I don't, honestly. And I listen, I like you're talking about still needing to get through, 11 preliminary interviews, right? And this net has been cast so wide that it's hard to know exactly what direction they want to go in. Hopefully, you'll get an idea. Obviously, Matt Eberflus being the first name of somebody that's been given word that he will get a second chance to talk to the organization. Hopefully, we can narrow it down to maybe 4 on each side, the coach and the GM side, and from there we can kind of start to check the boxes on the ballot. Listen, there's a lot of qualified candidates on those 2 lists. Now you have to figure out exactly what their visions are, and again, they're trying to find a way to pair these 2 people in tandem so that it works functionally and successfully going forward is a monumental challenge, and they have not been able to do it successfully for a while.